Hey, a few episodes ago I made a video about setting some goals. I tried to analyze myself as a photographer, and then I set myself some goals. It was more meant for you as an example that what you might want to do with your own photography. And ever since I've come to the realization that too rigid goal setting might take the fun out of this work, but I still think that there were some thoughts that I'm planning to do. Like, one of the things I thought I'm gonna do is to study painters. And by the way, you can find that old video. I put the link up there so you can find it from there. So I realized that I have no art training, no formal training in art or in photography or any of that sort. And I thought that maybe I could do some studying myself. And I decided to start to study 19th century painters. Now, I went online and I googled 19th century painters, and boy, the internet is a great place to be. I found a lot of pictures and all kind of stuff started to pop up. And, going through these pictures and paintings and reading the stories, certain themes started to emerge, certain ways of expressing yourself, certain, ways of showing things to the viewer. Now, I'm not an expert on this, but it seemed, based on my brief study, that starting with 19th century painters was the right decision. If you go earlier in time, the pictures are a little bit too full of themselves. The painters would create this a little bit more artificial and sort of grandiose sceneries and landscapes and portraits. And then if you go later in time, then painting, the art of painting becomes a bit too artsy for my taste. All kind of weird things start to emerge. So the 19th century painting seemed to be the sweet spot. And by the way, I'm going to show you a few pictures later. Some of those paintings have been painted a little bit later, but the painters are considered to be really 19th century painters. A bit complicated, but not important. So what was my motivation to study these paintings? I thought that I might find something new. I might find something totally different that I have not thought about earlier. But I didn't, at least not yet. I haven't found what I'm looking for. But instead, I found something much closer to home, and that's why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to share that with you. By the way, this is more a food for thought for you. It's not to showcase my work. But maybe you want to do something similar that I'm going to show you with your own work. And by the way, you need to take the full responsibility. Like, as I said, I have no training on this. I've spent a few hours, googled some pictures, and now here I'm making some conclusion. Now, that is already a pretty silly starting point, but the responsibility is on you. And this is an internet and this is a YouTube, so don't expect any kind of facts here. This is all artificial. This is all like... So I'm looking at these amazing paintings, like Russian painters, Dutch painters, French, American. And I start to see things appearing, like the ways of treating light and composing your pictures. Certain subject matters emerge, and sort of certain themes. As I'm looking at them, I realize that, I've tried to do the same thing. Now here is a light reflection that I tried to capture in one of my pictures. Or here's a composition similar to what I tried to do earlier. So I don't claim that my pictures come even close to the pictures of these famous artists. But on some level, we saw the same things. We saw the same light, we saw the same composition, we saw the same structure, and we both me and this artist, we have an idea that this is worth preserving. This is worth of capturing. He did that on canvas, I did that on film. Now, this is now going to get then very cheesy, and I apologize that. But what I'm planning to do next is that I show you a painting of a master that has certain elements. Lighting, composition, subject, something that to me feels like, yeah, this artist tried or actually succeed in doing something that I have tried to do also. And then I show my picture, my trial of a same thing. You get it? Like there's a masterpiece and then there's my humble trial of something similar. You know, and that's what I find interesting, is that I already saw where I'm heading at, and maybe I even succeeded on some level, and you know, that's fascinating. By the way, I put the description of these artists to the description page so that they don't tamper with your viewing pleasure. But you know, here are some pairs. A masterpiece, and then my picture where I see some similarities. Let's go. So I can now use these painters to guide me even deeper to where I'm going already. So instead of finding something totally new, at least for the time being, I found myself and I found some ways to maybe make my way of telling a story or composing a picture even stronger. I draw 4 basic conclusions out of my studies so far. So number 1, light. It's all about light. I mean, these 19th century painters were masters in painting light. And photography should be the same. It's all about the light. And it's about how you emphasize things, how you make things pop, how do you hide things, everything. It's all about the light. So even more, keep on paying attention to light. That's my first learning. Very, very clearly you can see for 19th century painters that they were fascinated by light. The second thing is bring out the important things, emphasize, point, direct your viewer to the things that are important. In my pictures, too often I know what is important, but I don't help the viewer to see the same thing. It's there among the other stuff. And to me, I know what to look at, but you know, I can't expect my viewer to see the same thing. But if I want him or her to see what I'm trying to show, I need to emphasize that, make that pop, you know, do things that make it evident what is important. Be more explicit. So that's the second one. The third one is space. Like, I love space in my pictures, and I typically do it so that I leave a lot of empty stuff. I love minimalism, and I love creating empty spaces and a lot of room to breathe. Now, pretty much my only trick is just to leave it empty. A lot of sky, a lot of lake, shooting from the distance. But these great artists, they have so many other ways to create this space. It doesn't need to be empty. You can create space by, making something sort of disappear into the background, or playing with different sizes and different perspectives. So anyways, so I love space, so do these painters. I have only one trick on my sleeve, they got many. I need to learn these other tricks too to create space. So light, point to the important, learn to create space in multiple ways. And then last, something that I already knew, there are much more people in the paintings than I have in my photographs. And often, people are important to people. We are social animals. So, not all the pictures have people, but maybe I need to, I already discussed that earlier, people are tough to me, I don't know how to photograph them, but I need to learn that, so the fourth learning for me was that go and shoot people. And by the way, that's a good way to end this video, and you take that out of the context and